Welcome to this explainer. We've all been there, right? Running absolutely exhausted on this proverbial treadmill that just never seems to stop, totally convinced that if we can just reach that next milestone, we'll finally be permanently happy. Well, today we're going to explore exactly why we constantly chase the next big thing and how we can actually hack our brains for lasting joy. Think back to the very last time you bought something you deeply, truly desired. Maybe it was the newest smartphone, a designer handbag, or maybe even a brand new car. You probably told yourself, man, once I have this, my life is going to be so much better. But really ask yourself, how long did that thrill truly last before the item just became, well, a normal, everyday part of your life? Was it a few weeks? A month? It's like the classic dream car scenario, day 1 versus day 100. On day 1, the smell of the leather and the shine of the dashboard give you pure euphoria. You feel this massive surge of happiness. But fast forward to day 100 and the novelty has completely worn off. It's literally just the vehicle you use to grab groceries or sit in traffic. The euphoria of day 1 eventually and inevitably fades right into the familiar, unexciting routine of day 100. And that leads us right into what psychologists call the "I'll be happy when" trap. We all easily fall into the trap of believing that the next promotion, the next big purchase, or finally finding the perfect partner is going to permanently fix our happiness. But it's an illusion. It keeps us endlessly chasing temporary highs. And when that excitement fades, because it always does, we're left wondering why we feel kind of empty again, immediately looking around for the next thing to buy or achieve. So what's actually happening here? Well, this psychological phenomenon is called the hedonic treadmill, or hedonic adaptation. It's basically our tendency to quickly return to a relatively stable level of happiness despite major life changes. In simple terms, we just get used to things. Think about it like walking from bright sunlight into a dark room. Your eyes naturally adjust, right? Well, your brain does the exact same thing to your new reality, resetting your happiness right back to its default level. Section 1: Winners, Losers, and Adaptation. To really understand how fiercely our brains are wired for this reset, we have to look at a groundbreaking 1971 study by Brickman and Campbell. This study completely changed how we view satisfaction. They looked at an extreme comparison: lottery winners who hit the ultimate financial jackpot and accident victims who suffered severe, life-altering injuries. Now, you would logically expect the lottery winners to be euphoric forever and the accident victims to be permanently devastated. But no, they found that both lottery winners and accident victims returned to their pre-event baseline happiness levels within just a few months or years. The winners actually got used to their wealth, and incredibly, the accident victims adapted to their hardships. It's exactly like novelist Ian McEwan wrote in Enduring Love. People often remark on how quickly the extraordinary becomes commonplace. We are highly adaptive creatures. Our brains simply normalize experiences on purpose. It's actually an evolutionary survival tactic. If we stayed overwhelmed by every good or bad thing forever, we just couldn't function, so we adapt. The predictable fades into the background, which allows us to focus our attention on new, unexpected things in our environment. And we see this adaptation super vividly with money, too. We often trick ourselves into thinking endless wealth equals endless joy. But research actually shows that higher incomes boost well-being and make life more comfortable only up to a certain threshold, which is around $95,000. After that point, the happiness benefits just stop extending indefinitely. Earning double or triple that amount doesn't double or triple your daily joy. Instead, your lifestyle simply inflates and you just get used to the more expensive dinners and the nicer clothes. Section 2: Your happiness set point. So, if we adapt to absolutely everything, are we just doomed to stay at this baseline forever? Well, not quite. Research into well-being reveals that about half of our baseline happiness is purely genetic. Another 10% is based on life circumstances, like where you live or your health. But here is the exciting part. A massive 40% is entirely within our control through intentional activities. We aren't just passengers stuck at a preset emotional speed. We actually have a huge amount of leverage over our own joy. To capitalize on that 40%, researchers like Sonia Lubomirsky developed the Hedonic Adaptation Prevention Model, or HAP for short. This model was built to show us exactly how to use our intentional activities to actively prolong our joy and literally stop the treadmill in its tracks. It's all about tricking our brains so we don't just habituate to the good things in our lives. Section 3: Stepping off the treadmill. Instead of letting our new jobs, our big achievements, or our relationships lose their magic over time, we can use specific, science-backed strategies to actively raise our baseline. By intentionally engaging in these activities, we prevent our brains from getting bored. Practicing daily gratitude actively forces your mind to appreciate what you actually have, fighting that constant urge to look for what's missing. Mixing up your routine is vital too, because adaptation thrives on repetition. If you inject variety into your relationships or your weekend plans, your brain stays engaged. Plus, limiting materialistic pursuits stops that endless cycle of consumerism, and engaging in acts of kindness provides a reliable, long-lasting boost to your own emotional well-being. If you follow these everyday steps, you can seriously rewrite your mental programming. First, shift your focus from consumerism, which, let's be honest, almost always leads to buyer's remorse, toward experiencing life. Experiences don't clutter your closet, they actually become part of your identity. Second, nurture your genuine social connections. Being around people you care about releases oxytocin, the love hormone, which powerfully elevates your mood. And third, savor positive moments mindfully. Don't just rush through a good cup of coffee or a great conversation with a friend. Be fully present and just soak it in. So, I want to leave you with this provocative thought to reflect on right now. What are you chasing today that you're just going to get used to tomorrow? Whether it's a big promotion, the newest gadget, or some shiny status symbol, recognize the treadmill for what it is. Step off of it and focus your energy on the intentional activities that will actually sustain your happiness for the long haul. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.